Hey, what is going on? Uh, it is Monday night, and um, today we are going to be going over 5 methods that this is for runners. So, 5 methods for runners to help them not only run injury free this year, but exceed their goals. So, I see a lot of runners every year, and I know it's 15 degrees outside. We've got polar vortexes going on and everything like that. So, but March is around the corner. March is coming up this week, and we will have some running weather coming up. So, also I've got some like a microphone in here. So if you can't hear me, just let me know. Just put put a comment down. But if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Be great. So yeah. So the like I said, we're getting done with this Cyclops stuff and polar vortex, and next thing you know, spring's here, and you're going to want to get out and put your running shoes on, hit the pavement for the first time in probably a few months, unless you've been doing it over the winter, which if that's the case, I applaud you, because I'm more of a seasonal runner, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm not as hardcore as some of you in the winter who are getting to it, no matter whether there's a blizzard outside or not. So I applaud you guys that can do that. But I'll be hitting the pavement and putting my running shoes on back around typically April, May, right in there. But this is a good time to listen up and prepare for if you are getting ready for any races or are planning on preparing for any races, or just simply even wanting to get out and run and meet different goals in the near future here or later in the summer, whatever it may be. So the keys, the 5 methods that I'm going to go over are proper warm up and cool down, having a plan, cross training, proper footwear or shoes, and then hydration and nutrition. So all of these things are key to your success and whether you stay healthy or not and exceed your goals. So thanks so much for everyone for liking this. If you find this beneficial, please give me a like, give me a thumbs up. Love it, whatever. So that'd be great. But we're gonna go over first on the list is a proper warm up, as well as a cool down. So a lot of people are guilty of this in terms of not warming up properly, and you just think, well, I'm gonna go out easy and then I'll pick up my pace. No. You really need to make sure you're getting a good warm-up in. So a good dynamic warm-up, and that could be a couple minutes jogging and then going through, doing some dynamic stretching, some lunging, squatting, really fine-tuning your body for what you're about to put it through. And then, so with those dynamic warm-up, you do not want to be holding that stretch for 30 seconds to a minute when you're warming up. That's a static stretch, and that is more so meant for a cool down and when you're recovering. So make sure that you leave time in your workout for a warm up and a cool down, because if you're not leaving that time, you're definitely placing your body at risk for injury due to increased stress and demand that it might not be ready for. And then that cool down can be very important as well afterwards, which, just letting it wind down properly, make sure you're getting your stretching in. So again, that's 30 to 60 second stretches, holding those. If you wanted to foam roll, if you're feeling tight, that's typically best for a recovery, not a warm up. And then, doing those static holds, those static stretches, leaving just 5 to 10 minutes even for that. Stretch out hamstrings, calves are extremely important, quads, the hips, low back. So all of that is extremely, extremely important. So the next thing on the list is having a plan and having a plan set in place. So more often than not, especially if people that are a little more novice or inexperienced, they're just going to go out and run and they're going to do what they can. And that's not always the best way to go about it. You really want to have a plan in place in terms of how many miles are you going to put in each week and how are you going to get to those total miles, and then building up. So whether you're doing a 5K or a 10K, a half marathon, a full marathon, you really need to have that plan in place that's going to say, okay, week 1, I'm doing this amount of miles, and even broken down into each day. And you're either running, every other day or 4 or 5 times a week. You need to know that and set it, put it into place accordingly. Don't just go out there expecting that, okay, I'm going to go train for a 5K. I've never ran a 5K before, and I'm just going to go do it. So that's just, while a 5K, is lower on the spectrum in terms of distance running, it's not as much. Still, if you've never done it before, or even if you haven't done it in a while and it's been a year or a couple of years or 10 years since you've done that, you're putting your body at risk because it's not used to that. It's not ready for it. Speaking from personal experience here, I had a stress fracture last year when I was preparing for the Grand Rapids Full Marathon. And that honestly came on because I tried to squeeze in too many miles before I went on a vacation that was in the middle of my training, and I knew I needed to get the miles in. I wasn't going to be able to during my training. And so during the vacation. So then I tried to squeeze it in right before, and that's kind of really when all my issues started. And then I wasn't able to complete the full marathon because I was hurt. And so don't do that. Make sure you have a plan in place. And if you need help developing a plan, reach out to myself or reach out to someone who is an experienced, whether it's healthcare professional, certified strength and conditioning specialist, to come up with a plan for you. There's also a lot of different online resources as well that might be able to point you in that direction. So thanks so much for watching, Russell and Brett. Thanks for joining. So that's the next thing is having a plan. Next on the list is cross training. So cross training is so important. So often do I see runners out there and all they really do is run and they don't mix in their cross training. You really need to cross train, and whether that's doing resistance training with weights, that's usually what I like to recommend, is some strength training with weights and having a specific plan there on your off days that you aren't running, and really getting a good full body cross training program incorporated with your running program to help prevent injury and help train those areas of the body that you might be your weakest. You've got your different impairments there. So getting a good cross training program, and one too that is specific to running and to the event that you're going to do, is extremely important. So don't just go out and do a powerlifting cross training program or a bodybuilding cross training program. That's not really specific to running. So you want something that's going to complement what you do, the distance that you're going to be doing, and getting that plan set in place is important. Brett, no problem. I will tag you in this so that way you can watch it. You can always shoot me a message too, or shoot me a text, and I'd be happy to talk with you. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. The next thing is shoes. So a lot of times now, and some of my more experienced runners, I don't necessarily have to talk to them about, but novice runners, people who are going out for their first 5K, or, they were running a few years ago and they stopped and they were picking it back up. They'll come to me and they're dealing with an injury. And one of the first things I look at are their shoes. And I ask them, how old are their shoes? Because I can tell they're a little beat up. And they'll say, oh, these are 2 years old. I haven't ran them that much. And it's like, okay, 2 years old of running shoes, you got to be changing them out sooner than that. And you really need a shoe that is right for you. So just because your buddy Joe, he's a great runner and he's wearing, Brooks, doesn't mean that style Brooks is going to be what's best for you. You need a shoe that is comfortable for you to wear. So that is the biggest thing when picking out shoes and footwear, is making sure that it's comfortable, that you don't have to force yourself to wear it. And going to a good running store such as Gazelles, if you're in the Grand Rapids area. So if you're in the Grand Rapids area, Gazelles, Striders, both of those places do a great job at helping you pick out a shoe that's best for you. So those are the two running stores that I recommend around here. If you're on the east side of the state, I highly recommend Red Fox Outfitters. I've got two really good friends that own that, Jesse Anderson and Nick Brown. They know their stuff. They do an awesome job. They're very active in the running community and just very professional, very knowledgeable about the shoes that they are selling and the different kinds of footwear that are out there and what you need to look for and what you should be in with your running style and your specific body needs, how your foot's shaped, your biomechanics. And lastly, we're going to go into hydration and nutrition. So hydration and nutrition are extremely important, especially when you're going to be putting on miles that you're doing endurance training. So you absolutely need to make sure you're drinking water and drinking enough of it. So make sure that one of the best ways to know if you're getting enough water is by looking at your urine and seeing what color your urine is. So if your urine's super dark, you're not getting enough water. Your urine should really be light yellow, should not be super dark. So the darker it is, chances are you're not getting enough water and you need to up your hydration levels. The other part, as far as nutrition, again, nutrition is extremely important. You need to make sure you're getting your carbs. I know a lot of people think that carbs are the enemy. When it comes to endurance training and you're training for a race, you really need to make sure you're getting those good carbs, good fat, and an adequate amount of protein. So with endurance runners, really the amount of carbs you consume can be up to like 60% of what you're eating. And you could be eating up to 3,000 calories a day or more, depending on the type of distance training that you're doing. So if you're getting up into those marathon, half marathons, full marathons, you definitely need to make sure you're eating more. You're not restricting yourself there, and have a meal plan set out as far as what you're going to eat and when you're going to eat it. One of the best things too you can do as far as after a run to help replenish glycogen stores is getting chocolate milk. So I know a lot of people really like Gatorade and the juices and stuff like that. Chocolate milk, the research shows, you can go and look it up, go and Google it. Chocolate milk is one of the best things that you can do to replenish glycogen stores with endurance training. So those are some of the top things that I really recommend that right there. So if you're watching and you've lasted this long, thanks so much for tuning in. Those are the 5 key things that I recommend for people and for runners. If you want to exceed your goals and stay injury-free and complete those races this year, follow those 5 steps. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'm more than happy to answer those for you. And if you have anything specific and you want to message me, feel free to message me. I'm more than happy to answer those questions for you at no no cost to you or anything like that. So I appreciate you guys watching. And if you found this beneficial, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, love it, and share it with someone that you know that's a runner that's training for any race and they might find this beneficial. I appreciate you guys watching. Have a great Monday night here. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next week on Monday. Have a great one.